Okay, with that dramatic opening video, welcome to Sports Goofs, everybody. This is Sports Goofs number 141. I'm Francisco, and I, of course, am joined by my good buddies, Andrew and Charles. So, Andrew, how are you doing? Are you gonna gloat? Are you gloating tonight? Is it gloating day
You
for
take
you?
away the gloating if you ask him if he's gonna gloat.
Well, I mean, we don't know which version of Andrew we got on this show today. So, could be gloating
Uh,
Andrew.
I'm a bit pensive today.
Okay.
Um,
Well, yeah. But in the
so
sports world, let's get outside, issues that are beyond
I,
a lot of our control right now. You know what I mean?
I'm just I know this is we're called Sports Goofs for a reason. We discuss sports and we're goofy. We don't take things very seriously, but at least got to acknowledge what happened today in Uvalde, Texas. Um,
And I'm sure we'll especially starting next week we'll have some real MVPs that'll be just like we had with the Buffalo stuff. So we
right,
will loop it in some sort of way, but we're not disacknowledging it. But yeah,
right.
so but
Um,
aside from that, how are you doing?
but I'm good. Lightning won yesterday. We're moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Um, six times in the last 8 seasons.
Indeed.
Uh, we became the third team or third franchise to win 10 straight playoff series, dating back to uh, 2020 over in the bubble. Um, I know it's weird to say this in hindsight, but getting swept by the Blue Jackets in 2019 was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to this franchise. Um,
Uh,
it reminds me a bit of how UCF went winless 0-12 in 2015. 2 seasons later, we won a national championship.
Uh,
Um,
oh gosh.
uh,
Oh no.
I
Oh
mean,
boy. Here we go
I
again.
thought his opening statement was actually more sad, but that statement you
Oh
just made is
no.
sadder.
All right. Well, Charles, how are you doing
so,
today? Andrew
I'm
gets sick
good.
full. I
I'm tired.
oh, okay.
You
All right.
know, I have been in 3 different counties today. Some counties are worth visiting when you have donuts to eat, but
Oh, okay.
you still get tired on the whole crutch of things,
Jupiter
but you
donuts.
survive all the same.
All right. Well, okay. So yeah, we have sports. There are sports to talk about. We might as well talk about those things, and we might talk about some outside issues. We'll have round two, or I guess the National League side of Charles's handsomest managers in baseball. So we'll
Yes.
be doing
Well,
that.
bring some comedy, to these very sad moments.
Yeah, so we will do that, and we will break down the first of these conference semifinals in the NHL to go down. We'll talk about some NBA because
No, we don't.
one
We don't have
series
to.
one series is probably going to
We
be
don't.
over
We don't.
soon
We don't have to
tonight,
talk about that.
and the other series is literally like one like
Killing us.
lopsided, like it is back and forth lopsided stuff. So there's that. And there's baseball because right now I guess the biggest thing that's gone down for everybody regarding baseball is the juice balls. And I saw a fantastic video by Baseball Doesn't Exist about the balls making process in with baseball. There's a lot of interesting tidbits there, and I don't know. And there's a bunch of good stuff, and of course we'll have the cage, and we depending on which version of Andrew we got, we might be taken into the Andrewverse today. So, all right. With that, Andrew, let's get to it because I labeled this episode the 5 stages of grief, I went through all of the stages in several hours over the course of Game 4 yesterday. Anger, denial, bargaining, gosh, just a lot of sadness. And then finally, there's the acceptance today. I woke up today. Work was good. I got a case closed for a couple that I really liked, and it was good. That livened up my spirits, and I was just like, the Panthers sucked, so they were frauds. So that's I will give Tampa its due. I will give Andre Vasilevsky his due. I really, I looked at the numbers 5-on-5. The Panthers kind of hung with the Lightning with that regards, but it was special teams and that. So yeah, Andrew, take it away. I got a phone call real quick. I'll be back real second. All
okay. Right? So anyway, for those who are not following, we are in the middle of the second round in the NHL playoffs. Tampa in the Sunrise Series, the Sunshine Series, Battle of Florida, whatever you want to call it. Tampa Bay Lightning took on the Florida Panthers in the second round. Rematch of the first round from last season, which Tampa won, I think, 4-2. I don't 100% remember. But Tampa just exceeded all of my expectations in this series. I hate to say it. I mean, Charles Francisco will know that I was whining a bit during the first round against the Maple Leafs. And
I think that was a hard series, though. Even I watched a bit of it. Y'all went to 7,
It
right?
was tough, man. I think I mentioned this on the last episode or the episode just after we beat the Maple Leafs, that that was the hardest series we've been in during this run.
And then you get an absolute break by playing the fraud season kings, the President's Trophy frauds.
I tell you, man, the President's Trophy is cursed.
Fraudulence. We're just gonna call it the Fraudulence Trophy.
The Fraudulent Trophy. I like it. The Fraudulence Trophy. I like it.
When he comes back, we're gonna fling that at him.
The Fraudulence Trophy. And I posted this on Twitter. I mean, from a diehard Tampa Bay Lightning standpoint, ha 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 ha. That's probably the extent of my gloating. A part of the reason I don't like to gloat is I think it brings bad juju into the world. And I don't want to jinx anything. Really, the only team that I'll really hit heavy on is South Florida, but who knows? The Panthers might get there someday if there's enough continued bad blood. But anyway, I posted this on Twitter, and I said, props has to go to the Florida Panthers. I know they didn't make it out of the second round, but the fact that they even made it to the second round was historic. They haven't been out of the first round since 1996, which is the year that they went to the second round.
I'm back. And yeah, it's been 26 years. It took forever.
Francisco, we're officially calling it the Fraudulence Trophy, not the President's Trophy.
Yeah, well, only 2 teams in the last, I don't know how many years, have actually won the damn thing with it.
It's cursed, man. I'll tell you. I think it's more cursed than the Prince of Wales Trophy and the Clarence Bowl.
Yeah, just touching it. Yeah, it's more cursed than that. You know what you know what it is now for me, and some bit of solace for me as far as the whole Panthers regular season is I'm just kind of at this point just thinking, all right, they got all of the regular season accolades out of the way, right? They won the division, they got the President's Trophy, now they can hang a stupid banner for those stupid things, and now they realize, all right, none of that stuff matters. The only thing that matters is getting to the Stanley Cup final. That's it. They got getting to it and then winning the damn thing. Because they already got all the stuff out of the way. Like it much like the the Panthers are like in the same vein as like the Vegas Golden Knights. They have all the like the accolades with making it to the final and have a President's Trophy now, a few division championships. Now it's just a matter of okay, now let's finally win the damn thing. But
is that your belief that the more that you succeed and fail at the smaller steps, you will actually get to the big mountain?
I mean, it's happened. It happened for Tampa. It happened for Chicago. It's happened for other teams.
But do you have the players to create that good hope? Aren't you? You're losing Giroux.
Well, I saw a great tweet.
Or Giroux, I don't know.
I saw a great tweet. Well, Giroux was a rental, but I saw a great tweet from one of the Panthers beat writers, and it was the thread from when the Lightning lost to the Blue Jackets, and there were a ton of comments there with everybody saying blow the team up, fire Cooper, all this other stuff. And lo and behold, look what happened. Now, my thing is, of course, we don't have this generation's Patrick Waugh playing for us, and that's it. But so that's the thing.
Listen,
that's my trepidations.
Patrick Waugh was my favorite goalie growing up, but you're doing him a disservice by calling him Patrick Waugh. I was reading an article from The Athletic. Forget who it was. I think it may have been Rick Tocchet. But he said he's a mix of Martin Brodeur and Dominik Hasek.
He was on TNT because he's one of the guys on the TNT crew.
Right.
On NHL on TNT. And he had his Mount Rushmore of goalies. And he had Marty Brodeur, Patrick Waugh, Dominik Hasek, and now he added Vasilevsky. He thinks that highly of him.
And listen, I am usually very hesitant to declare someone to be on the fabled Mount Rushmore or whatever you want to call it while they're still in their career. But just looking at it from an unbiased standpoint as much as I can, Vasilevsky is one of the greatest goaltenders of all time, and he's only 27. I mean, he's given up. He's faced 200 shots in the last I think 10 clinching games. The last 7 clinching games. And he's given up 1 goal. And that was to the Maple Leafs this season. The man is... It's tough to describe. You have to see him play. Because he has the flexibility of Hasek. He has the poise of Waugh.
Mm-hmm.
I won't necessarily say as the stick handling of Brodeur because Brodeur is in a whole different level. I'd say right now Mike Smith is the current Brodeur. But it's
the I guess the biggest X factor, he's massive. He's huge.
He is very tall. But the thing is, as tall as he plays bigger than he is tall. The thing about Hasek was, I guess this would be a good time for Andrew Verse.
You want to go? You want to
Sure,
do this?
why
You want to
not?
do this as your Andrew Verse? Okay, all right, let's do it.
Sure,
Let's
why
go
not?
Does he get to actually choose Andrew Verse or no?
I mean, I always thought it would just be him, like doing something
If anything, it
outside
sounds
of
like
sports.
I'm about to get learned a goof here.
Yeah. Okay, so I feel like Andrew Verse is more of like outside
Andrew
sports
loves
stuff.
Andrew
Okay,
Verse,
all right,
which we
that's
understand.
You know your random trivias that you do.
Yeah.
Like Andrew Verse is a
But
guy who
I will show up. I'll show on the big screen here. The what you I don't know, who do you want me to look up? Dominik Hasek? I can go on Stat Muse.
Let's start with Hasek.
Let me go on Stat Muse then. I'll do that. I love Stat Muse. It's like my new favorite thing right now.
So Dominik Hasek, I'm not sure if you saw a lot of him, Charles, or any.
We might have shown him some clips, but yeah.
But Hasek's big thing, he was the personification of, do I get the results? Yes. Then it doesn't matter how I do it. He was so, to call him unorthodox would be putting it mildly. He was flopping, he'd throw his stick away, he'd go on his back. He's like, the dude was like Gumby in terms of how flexible he was. It was unbelievable. But the quote unquote downside is that he was relatively small, and he was best known for that technical acrobatic stuff. The problem was, the reason he had to do it so much was because he wasn't exactly the best positioning goalie. It's a bad sign when a goalie has to make those desperation saves, because it means either the defense screwed something up and there was a cross crease pass, or you didn't position yourself correctly. Patrick Waugh didn't really do a lot of desperation saves because he was so well positioned and he was big, and he was really the first kind of big proponent of the butterfly style that everyone uses now.
So Hasek, Hasek's career was, of course, legendary, and here you see, like, he played for basically he started out with Chicago, then went to Buffalo, which is where, like, he became a legend. And then Chicago was they were I don't know what happened in Chicago, but they had Hasek and Ed Belfour at the same time. That's amazing, and they had to get rid of one of them, and they both ended up being Hall of Fame goaltenders. And then he went to Buffalo. That happened. They lost one final there, and then he went ring chasing, and went off to Detroit. He did win his rings, so there was that. And yeah, he played. I didn't know he played for Ottawa. That's weird. That's a weird one.
Mm-hmm.
That's
the end of his career.
Yeah, that's yeah. And then he went back to Detroit to finish his career. But that's a really odd one with Ottawa. Okay, and yeah. In his, 2 Hart trophies, so he was voted the league MVP instead of, that's like like a pitcher winning an MVP, aside from the Cy Young. So that's how amazing he was. 6 Vezinas and 2 Stanley Cups with Detroit. And Hall of Famer in 2014. So let me look up Patrick Waugh while you're talking about him, Andrew.
So Vasi, aka Big Cat, as we call him, he positions himself so well, so he doesn't need to make a lot of desperation saves. In fact, most of the desperation saves he makes are because there was either like an incredible pass by the offense that got him out of position, or just it was something given up by the defense, which, by the way, last night he faced 49 shots. That's unreal. He shouldn't have had to face that many.
That's why a lot of the Panthers played their best game yesterday.
I know, it was fantastic.
Unfortunately, they went up against this guy who put up a performance for the ages, and yeah, that's. I'm gonna do an aside here, very briefly. I was telling Charles this before you so rudely interrupted me when you came back to the show. I posted this last night on Twitter that, kudos to Florida. I know you guys didn't advance past the second round, but like you alluded to, you kind of stole a bit of my thunder. You did something historic for your franchise. It's been, you said, 26 years since you won a playoff series. You got the President's Trophy. I think you had you were the highest scoring team in the past 25 years. Certainly of the salary cap era. So it's like, good on you guys. That was awesome.
But props also has to be given to Andrew Brunette. He came in a very, very tough situation after Joel Quenneville was fired. By the way, Joe Quenneville, you can go fuck yourself. So Charles, I don't know if you know the context to that, but Joe Quenneville,
he remembers. He remembers it.
It was Mr. He didn't want to whistle blow on the touchy, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. So
that's not legal terminology, kids. That's just Charles trying to revert everything back to memory.
Right. Well, there you go. There, I can see my tweet now up on the screen. But Brunette, I know one person who's a hater commented and said that he just held the status quo. But that's the thing. He did. He held the status quo, which for an interim head coach is incredible. That is great work by Brunette.
Yeah, and he wasn't an NHL head coach before. Like some head coaches in the league, a lot of their assistant coaches, some of them were former actual head coaches.
Right.
And yeah.
No, this was his first head coaching gig at any level. Really, he's just he's just a former player, more or less.
Yeah, a lot of people remember him from his playing days, and he was in the league for quite a bit, actually. So
yeah. He was actually the Lightning's head coach for 2 seasons, but
really, when was that?
2008, 2010. I just threw out numbers. I don't know.
Hold on, Andrew Brunette. I'm gonna look it up right now while you talk. Andrew.
Oh wait, no, sorry, not Brunette. I had Rick Tockett's page up on my.
Oh, okay.
I got confused.
I mean, he played for Washington, Nashville, Atlanta, Minnesota, Colorado, and Chicago from 93 to 2012. So that was his coaching and his playing career. And I guess he finished his career in Chicago in 2012. And I guess that's when he kind of got together with probably in their organization with Coach Q, and that's how that relationship started, most likely. But yes.
So,
and yeah, he's only been an assistant coach. He was with Minnesota, and then he joined Quenneville in Florida. Like he's only been coaching since 2014. And he was also an assistant general manager as well. So he's done a few things, but he's never been at this level.
Right. And so it's one thing to be thrown into the fire just randomly, like, head coach was fired in the middle of the season for poor performance. Like, usually you can kind of see that stuff coming. But to see that coming, which, by the way, the firing was totally justified. I'm not downplaying that. The guy needed to be fired. He needs to be banned from the NHL for the rest of his life.
Yeah, I think Coach Q is not going to be coaching in the NHL. He's the second winningest head coach in NHL history. He got his Stanley Cups. We'll see what happens with the Hockey Hall of Fame, and yeah. There's a lot of things with the Chicago Blackhawks that is like you got to look at it in hindsight and be like, ooh, what is going to happen there with a lot of those guys? But that's an aside.
For him to come in and make sure that the boat didn't rock and got them to that point is fantastic. If it is a travesty if he doesn't win Coach of the Year.
Andrew, here's a question for you. What if someone hypothetically supported both the Panthers and the Lightning? Because there's a question.
I mean, I guess in theory that's me. The Panthers are in a normal situation. Blackhawks, like the bird. Although in this case, it supposedly references a Native American chief.
Yes, indeed. Or and I think it was, or I don't know if it was no, it references I think like an army, like
right. That's right.
An army and who were named after the Native American chief by way of that. So that's how that goes.
But no, it's not black. You know what? It's Black Hawks. In fact, actually, back in the old days, the name actually used to be 2 words. It was Black Hawks.
So people could distinguish it, and then they smashed them together.
Right. Kind of like how the AP now allows us to write website as 1 word instead of website. Thank God. Anyway, Andrew Burnett, that's an incredible job. Probably one of the best coaching jobs I've seen in recent memory. Not to take anything away from John Cooper over the past couple of years, because he's been incredible. But
I think you got to give it to the guy who's going to take you to 3 possible back-to-back finals.
Yeah, but still,
but normally you never have in all sports really. Normally you never have the guy who wins the big one coach-wise ever really get Coach of the Year. I can't think or fathom the last time I recall that.
Right.
I mean, he wasn't nominated. He wasn't one of the nominees for the Jack Adams, which is the Coach of the Year for the NHL. Brunett's one, I think, was one of them, and a few other guys. I forgot who the other ones were, but
like I said, if Brunette doesn't win, it's a travesty.
I think he did great. Panthers fans are, of course, not in the mood to talk about that because they think, and look, he was a rookie head coach in this series for sure. Actually, since the start of this playoffs, I think. If I got to be critical of it, he was a rookie head coach because he's actually in charge. Before Q left, he was in charge of the power play, Brunette. So Brunette has been in charge of the Panthers power play since he's gotten here to Florida, and his main thing was the power play. So lo and behold, when the Panthers, they were the 5th best power play in the league this season, in the regular season, and then comes the postseason, and for whatever reason, I don't know what happened, but the well completely dried up. They suddenly became an entirely different team on the power play, and they didn't get the power play goal until Game 3, or was it? Yeah. So
I gotta give him credit though. He did eventually make adjustments.
But it was too late. It was too late.
Yes, it was too late.
Yeah.
But I noticed starting in Game 3 that the power play in the first 2 games. I didn't see the first series, so I can't speak to that. But the power play was trying to be a little bit too cute.
I like how Andrew's basically giving you the proverbial good game slap on the ass for the Panthers.
Listen. As much as a diehard Lightning fan as I am, I can still be neutral, and I can recognize that the Panthers have something good going as long as they don't blow it up.
Kind of like a feudal empire or feudal emperor when the little countries are having uprising. But I appreciate your heart, so I won't slaughter the masses. Alexander the Great over here. Andrew the Great.
Andrew the Great. I like it.
Oh, that could be a new Andrewverse. Yeah.
The memeability is just too good.
But yeah, overall, I think the power play got a lot more dangerous. I wasn't really scared of the power play in the first 2 games. Like I said, they were trying to be a little bit too cute.
I don't even think it was cute. I think they honestly were way too nervous to do. They overthought a lot of the things that they were doing with the puck, and they
That's
were over.
Part of what I mean by too cute is that you're looking for the perfect play.
Yeah, they were overpassing, and they were not taking advantage of any of the Lightning were doing great with protecting the box and not allowing the Panthers to do much with regards to their passes through the inside. Like the Panthers couldn't pass through the inside for a lot of those games. So
Right.
and Huberdeau especially because he was had the most assists in the league this season. He was trying to find all those the saucer passes that he was he's known for. Like he's
Right.
the assist guy. He's
That does not work in the playoffs.
and well, it's not that it doesn't work. It's just that he himself was trying to force it, and he just never adjusted. Ton of the guys never adjusted to the playoffs, and I guess one of the big criticisms I had one was Brunette not adjusting the power play, even like after the Capitals series, like they honestly I felt like the Capitals their window is closing, so them and the Penguins. But that's how I feel with regards to those two franchises. However, I also think that the Panthers did get lucky that had the Capitals played even a little bit better because the Capitals took them to 6, and that's what the Panthers without a power play working at all. If the Panthers had a good power play, they probably would have won in 5 or even a sweep against Washington, and heck, they'd still be alive right now against Tampa because every single one of the games that we played in those 4 in the series against Tampa, the game was tied going into the 3rd. So it wasn't that the Panthers couldn't hang. They could. They just choked away their opportunities on special teams. And then by game 4, when they finally got things together, Vasilevsky had his best game. And one of the quotes that I do remember most was Ekblad after game 1. He said because he felt like they gave game 1 away to the Washington Capitals, and it was true. It was true, and they gave games away in this series, and you can't give games away to teams that have won Stanley Cups before. You just can't. And well, we'll be back next year, but man, all of these are learning experiences. But man, these guys are basically my college career at this point. It's going to take 10 years for them to actually get to actually having a real decent career and doing something. Sheesh. Well, maybe they're probably the perfect team for me then. Okay, never mind. We're kindred spirits.
So, I mean, I know we kind of got a little bit off track. I know we were discussing Vasilevsky, but
we're discussing the series, so
right.
it still works. But honestly, Vasilevsky, dear Lord,
it's inhuman what he's able to do sometimes. Steve Glenn, aka Steve Dangle from Sportsnet, who does the hat picks and dang it's each week.
Yep.
He has said on multiple occasions that Vasilevsky has telekinesis. And it's hard to disagree with that because some of the saves he's made are just, how does he know where the puck is going? He actually saved once by reaching his hand behind his back to with his glove to catch the puck. It's insanity. The fact that we're paying him, I think, $9 million a year, we're getting a steal.
Yeah.
And he's the second highest paid goaltender behind Bob, Sergei Bobrovsky.
And I guess that's the real. He's the only highlight of this postseason for me. If we're gonna give props,
really well.
Yeah,
he did really well. If he can, if he's able to continue like that,
he was worth.
You guys are going to be okay. It's actually 9.5 mil, and thank God we have Vasilevsky through the 27-28 season. So he's not going anywhere anytime soon.
One of the things from the NHL and TNT crew that I wholeheartedly agree with was that Bob played so well that the only way he was going to beat Vasi at this point was to play perfectly. Like, that was the only way. That's how good Bob played, and that's how great Vasilevsky played. It's like, yeah, it makes total sense. And
Bob was on another level. He
He's
finally this season
well,
he
aside from
finally
2018, you know,
he finally
2019, yeah.
became worth his contract
Oh
to
yeah,
some extent.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
I mean, he's getting like what 10.5 something like that.
He gets paid 10 million a year, 10 million a year for 7 years, I think is his contract. So $70 million, and he's gonna be here for a bit, for a long
I mean,
while.
that is hefty. That is hefty for a goaltender,
It
for a full
is,
player,
but
really. But if he can keep this kind of play up the regular season and the playoffs,
hmm
he's a good goalie like that is worth their weight in gold.
yeah.
Um, and thank God you didn't have to use three goaltenders in a series like last season.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, we didn't see Spencer Knight, which was good, and of course Spencer Knight is our hopeful Vasilevsky, I would say, because I mean, he's another one. He's like, what? He's 21 years old. Like he's got a long while before he takes the reins, which is why Bob is here for those 7 years. And now what? It's already been like 3 seasons already. So
well, it reminds me of Ben Bishop and Andre
yeah,
Vasilevsky back
same
in
thing.
2015.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Bishop was the guy. Um, you know, it was pretty apparent that he was going to be the guy for many, many, many years. But then he got injured, and then well, really, it started. It was kind of like a crap. I forget his name, but the guy that had to sit out a game. So Lou Gehrig came in and started his Iron Horse streak.
Okay.
He was Bishop was having a few down games, so they brought in Vasilevsky, and he was rough around the edges. He was still a kid, around Spencer Knight's age, but he eventually we became so confident in him that we said, we love you.
You could trade. You were
We
able
love
to trade Ben Bishop out.
You know who I love?
but and the thing with Bishop,
because he got a Jizzo for me.
I read an article about Bishop that he was talking about Vasilevsky, and he said he knew he was gone at some point.
Mm-hmm.
He knew that Vasilevsky was the future.
And Ben Bishop was no scrub. Ben Bishop,
No, not at all.
Heck, you guys faced him in the Stanley Cup final in 2020 when he was with the Stars. So
no, he was injured.
oh, he was injured, but he was on that Stars team, and
Right.
he was the number one goalie in Dallas for all those years when they were with that contention.
We aren't where we are now without Ben Bishop.
Yeah.
We certainly don't make it to the 2015 Stanley Cup.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure a lot of new Lightning fans won't know his impact, but it would have been great if he could have retired with us, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Injuries got him.
He's got a great career. Yeah, he's had a good career. He has
had a very good.
He had a chance at the Cup, and he had also a second chance with Dallas. So he was a good goalie.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, he was above average, I would say.
But yeah, Spencer Knight, if he can develop well, he's gonna. I won't say that he's going to be your Vasilevsky, because no one can be Vasilevsky right now because he's just on another planet. But if he can be the next Bobrovsky, or like a really good goaltender to follow in Bob's footsteps,
I mean, that'd be great. But man, I'd love because the Panthers have never developed in their history an actual goalie from the ground up. Like
what about Luongo?
They traded for Luongo. Remember, he was drafted by the Islanders, and then Mike Milbury was.
He played for like 2 years with them.
Yeah, he did, and then the Islanders drafted Rick DiPietro, and they decided to go with him instead of Luongo, and that was, remember, Mike Milbury, and was the reason why I always had a grudge against Mike Milbury. Not a grudge, but I always like, is he really an NHL expert? Why are we listening to this guy? He's the guy who traded Roberto Luongo for Rick DiPietro. He traded Lou and Olli Jokinen to Florida for
I remember all Jokinen.
I don't remember who the
playoff
Islanders got, but the Islanders stayed with DiPietro, and the rest is history. So, but yeah, no, the Panthers have never developed their own, like drafted and developed their own guy. They've always brought in goalies, Van Beesbrook, Luongo, Vokun, Jose Theodore, and now Bob. So it's,
I mean,
yeah.
I'll agree. We can agree to disagree on Luongo. I think I would still consider him a developed goaltender through the Panthers system.
I don't know, but he was drafted like in '96, so
I will end this debate. Was
So, yeah.
he what? He was 2 seasons in when he joined
he was
you guys?
he was drafted in '96. He was in the Islanders system, and then he came up in '99, I think. So,
I would say you developed him, depending how long he stayed with you
So
guys.
I think he was like 4.5. I think that's still the Islanders developing him.
But
And
that's like 8.
and look, the Panthers teams that he had in front of him in his first stint, you can't say that the Panthers were developing because Luongo was just great. He faced an ungodly amount of shots in 2004, and those Panthers teams were awful, awful, awful. Like it's one of the great travesties in hockey that the Panthers wasted Luongo's career. Almost like the Seattle Mariners did with Ichiro and Felix Hernandez and a bunch of guys, Ken Griffey Jr., just a ton of guys.
Everybody in Seattle.
Huh?
Just everybody in Seattle.
Yeah, basically everybody in Seattle that's ever played for them. They've just wasted careers. So, okay, we're at 42 minutes. So,
I think we should. I mean, I'm glad that we spent this much time since it was a common series for the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to spend the rest of the hour discussing the rest of the playoffs?
Well, I mean the rest of the playoffs. So let's see. We're right now the Rangers are up 2-0 against Carolina. Carolina's
All I know is
owned.
Calgary's scary. As a common man, that's what I found out here.
Well, Edmonton's up on the series. So the Flames. It's the Battle of Alberta.
There's one reason,
Yeah.
and one reason only, they're up in the series.
Yeah.
Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
Connor McDavid. I just think of
Connor
like
McJesus
with him.
Yeah. I mentioned this. Sorry, Andrew. I'll let you talk. But I just want to mention this that. And I think I mentioned it on this show, and I mentioned it on the Locked On Panthers podcast, which I appeared in. If you guys want to check them out, and I'm over here trying to do the rounds and try and promote this show and everything else that I do. But I spoke about Connor McDavid because I was comparing him as like and Barkov and Huberdeau. It's like the stars on the teams have to show up, right? And the Panthers didn't have their stars show up. And I think Ekblad still wasn't fully recovered. But Connor McDavid, his eyes in Game 7 against the Kings, like he had that look. And I said this on this show. He had that LeBron in Game 6 versus Boston look. Like McDavid is playing. He knows his legacy. He knows he's McJesus. So he's this postseason, he's playing like it. And he got the Battle of Alberta for the first time in his career. Like, he wants this more than anything. He knows he needs to win a cup to, I guess, I hate to say justify his career and all that stuff, especially the stuff with the Oilers, but really justify the stuff with the Oilers with all those number one picks.
2006 Payne Manning?
Maybe that's a good comparison. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Andrew.
I think I forgot. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, right.
McDavid, baby.
Right now, McDavid is the forward equivalent of Vasilevsky. Like he's doing stuff that no human should be able to do. Right now, he's playing like the best hockey player on the planet.
I mean, he is. He absolutely is. Aside from Vasilevsky, yeah, it's McDavid. It truly is. And they play later tonight, so that series is good. It's a good series, and that's one people in hockey have been begging for years now, and the hockey gods finally let it happen. So the Rangers are, one last final thrash to try and stay alive against Carolina. The Canes have done a great job. Probably one of the few teams that really, I mean, it's going to be something. if when hopefully, I mean, I kind of want them to move on, but Tampa versus Carolina, oh man, sheesh,
Bunch
that's
of jerks.
yeah, the bunch of jerks, right? Carolina, that sort of basically the real South versus the fake South. Oh, actually, no. The Central Florida is basically Michigan or Ohio. It's basically that in some aspects it is, in other aspects it's the South. So it's a mix of just white trash. This is me, and we talked about Polk County last episode. And Charles sighs because he lived there, and Andrew knows because he of course lived around there and knows the area. But
Francisco becomes Frankie if he ever goes up that area.
anyways, so those are the other two series that are going on, and yeah, the
Well,
series
wait,
is
you,
over.
you missed,
Oh yeah.
you missed,
Oh yeah. Oh. Okay, we got to get to this because this yeah,
we have
Andrew.
goons. We got
I,
some goons.
I got goons. I got goons, guys. So, the other series, which is the Colorado Avalanche versus the St. Louis Blues, a series that, I mean, look, you got the Avalanche who are in this position, probably like the Lightning a few years ago, where they couldn't get over the hump. They were there. They've been praised, all this other stuff, but they just can't get over the hump. The same thing with the Washington Capitals. I mean, probably the Panthers in this position right now, but just not as far in. And they've played like they have something to prove this season. They swept the Nashville Predators. They're up 3-1 against St. Louis, and the Blues are a good team. They won the cup not too long ago either. And unfortunately, in this series, and it's a huge reason why the Blues are not or haven't won a second game in this series. As much as the Avalanche are good, Andrew, Jordan Binnington was having himself a playoff this season.
And the interesting thing was he wasn't the starting goaltender initially. It was Ville Husso.
Yeah, it was, but then suddenly Binnington, much like much like Big Dick Nick, when it comes to when it comes to the postseason, like suddenly he becomes the other type of Jordan, right? He's the reason why the Blues won a cup in 2019 as well. He didn't win the Conn Smythe. I think it was Ryan O'Reilly probably won that, but still bunch of those guys are there. And unfortunately, in I think it was game 2, right? Or was it game 3? I think it was game 2. Oh yeah, well Nazem Kadri, who is the subject of ire for a lot of people right now, and of course subject of the goonery that's happened, not by him but against by people doing it to him. Nazem Kadri ran into him, and Jordan Binnington's out for the rest of this series with a lower body injury. And of course, goalies love using their lower bodies. That's kind of their thing. Well, Nazem Kadri has become public enemy number 1 in St. Louis. And he's up there with Stan Kroenke right now. Unfortunately, St. Louis fans have taken it up a massive level by getting getting pissed off at him and wanting him to get hurt and all that stuff from a hockey perspective, but people have taken it, of course, because Nazem Kadri, what is his ethnic background, Andrew? I forgot what it is.
I don't remember.
I mean, he's Lebanese. He's Lebanese.
And he's a Muslim.
Aha, there it is. That's what it was. So it's both it's xenophobic, it's racist, it's Islamophobic as well, and people have been sending just racist messages to him and his family. And his wife shared some because people were sending them to his wife, and just a bunch of stuff. It's all redacted here on the screen. And yeah, it's bad. It's really, really bad. All these people, they're sending videos, threatening him and all this other stuff, and just a bunch of it's bad. It keeps going, and I don't want to, people.
Listen, I understand from a fan perspective being mad, especially in a situation like this. You can think of it as a dirty play. I don't 100% remember watching the clip, so I'd have to look at it. But either way,
Yeah.
go after first off, any kind of shit like that is reprehensible and does not belong on this planet. Absolutely not. It's horrible. It's unforgivable.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. I don't think, I'll have to look at it again, but I don't think it was like dirty, like
malicious intent.
Like when I think of, and we were discussing this last night, Francisco, about Spinelli going into Bobrovsky. When I think of dirty, I think of Brad Marchand spearing guys in the nuts.
Hey, you know what? We're just following the playground rules, baby. All right.
And when I think of dirty, I think of Todd Bertuzzi.
That's the dirtiest, of course, of all.
I'll show you the clip sometime, Charles. But
we had a Todd Bertuzzi segment.
He punched the guy in the back of the head and then threw his head into the ice.
Yep.
Ended his playing career.
Yep.
That's dirty. I don't think Kadri, and he has a bit of a reputation, all right?
Yeah, since he was in Toronto.
The guy last year was suspended for 8 games in the playoff. The guy's got a reputation. He's not goody two-shoes.
He's the Avs Marchand, I would say.
Yes. But I don't think he would intentionally go out of his way to be dirty. But even so, even if he was dirty, and he intentionally wanted to take out Binnington, which I really don't think he did, you don't say that shit to their family. You leave the family out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not excusing what they're saying. Going like that, there's a line. You don't cross the line of going into slurs, wishing death threats.
Yeah.
You don't cross that line. But if you do cross the line, there's another line beyond that, and that's the family. You don't bring that to the family.
Yeah.
They double cross the line. It's like it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Yeah. Oh, and Jalexi, muchas gracias. Yeah, someone says greetings and something. Exi though, there we go. I could.
What does that mean?
Yeah, good success. Have some good success. So yeah, all right. So someone's watching on Facebook. There we go.
Can I just say, I gotta interject here. Having Andrew say "dirty" makes me think of Aaliyah's. Are you responsible? Because I already need somebody. Because there's a whole like dirty, not it. And so now I just have this whole image of just Andrew chilling to R&B. Listen, Aaliyah's a good R&B singer.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Baby girl. Francisco could be like Timbaland in the background, making the beats.
God,
you're
man,
a producer.
the early 2000s are racing back to me now. Oh boy. Okay. Oh, but there's another line to the. There's a happy ending to this story, Andrew.
I mean, we just made a Leo reference on the show. I won't be happier in any of the remaining.
Well, Charles, Nazem Kadri happens to be one of those players that loves the hate, that gets fueled from the hate. Because one of those guys, one of those guys that gets more powerful as you boo him more during the game. So last night in Game 4, he had himself a hat trick. 3 goals. They were booing him like crazy. He was getting middle fingers. All kinds of stuff were being yelled at him, and he scored a hat trick. So, yeah, that was great. People of St. Louis, you're goons right now. I'm just gonna direct it to the people of St. Louis right now. Okay, I get it. Pujols pitched for like an inning. Everybody was happy for you, but then you did this. So, no bueno. No good. All right. So we are at 55 minutes. Can we do the non-sponsors early, and then we can
Why
go
not? Let's do it.
and we'll do that, and then we'll hop into the handsomest NL managers coming next. So afterwards, and then we'll talk some basketball, talk some baseball because I do want to talk about juice balls, and I'll try and keep the time. I'll try and keep aware of the time because we went over last episode, and we can get into the cage. All right.
Yeah, Cage is going to be AEW centric because I'd be making a lot of promises.
That's yeah, you
WWE
did say that.
ruins it a lot,
say that,
especially this week.
Well, as long as you don't say what USA Network did with their little article that they posted,
Well,
and
I'm
there's
not
some
the devil
gooner,
here.
there's some goonery for that one as well. So yeah, well, ugh. Okay, so let's go to a word from our non-sponsors, people, places, things, concepts, what have you that we've been enjoying over the last week. So I'll start again, guys, because man, there is a product that I've been using for quite a bit since I discovered it, and I didn't realize how much I love this stuff. It's Philadelphia whipped cream cheese.
Ooh.
Wait, what cream cheese?
Whipped Charles, you do not know the wonderfulness of whipped cream cheese?
No.
Oh my god, it is airy, it is fluffy, it is soft, it is good. I absolutely love this stuff. And they got different flavors and everything. Hold on, let me see if I can find their official. Do they have an official website? I don't know. I don't know if the Philadelphia Cream Cheese Company ever has an official website. Let's
probably
see.
be the best cream cheese of all time.
Hold
That's their URL.
Because like all these food companies have like websites, and I'm just right. You know what? Screw it. We'll just look at the stuff anyways. Whipped cream cheese. There are several different flavors, and I'll just put on shopping here, and we'll see them. And they've got different kinds of flavors. They got, of course, the normal, regular whipped cream cheese that tastes like the Philadelphia cream cheese, except it's a lot more fluffy. It's a lot more airy. I just like the texture of it when it's in my
Do
mouth.
you want airy cream cheese? I'm not trying to interrupt your spot.
Charles,
These are just things that keep me up at night.
You know how sometimes cream cheese is a bit difficult to spread sometimes.
And
You know?
I respect the challenge and the hustle.
Well, there's a whipped version of it, my friend.
My life's not supposed to be easy, Francisco, nor should yours be.
Well,
Cream cheese is the ultimate challenge.
I mean, no, the cream cheese. I'm so glad that they made this version. I am so happy with it. They've got this version, garlic and herb. That's another version. My favorite is mixed berry. Okay, with a mix of strawberry, raspberry, and blackberry. That's, or maybe blueberry as well. But that one's my favorite version. They're only 50 calories per tablespoon, or 2 tablespoons as well. So they're pretty easy on the calories. There was one that they have chive version of it. There's a one that Buffalo style. That's another one. I haven't seen Buffalo style in stores yet. That one I have not seen. But there was one that I was at Sedano's today, and I was looking at it. And by the way, Sedano's is like the one place where I can feel like I'm an NBA player.
Yeah,
Because
you're also getting like 6-day-old meat, but it's still good quality.
well, yeah, it's still good quality, but I'm like 2 feet taller than everybody who's in that. I really do feel like an NBA player when I'm in there. Like I walked in, I was in my suit because I came from court, and I was trying to grab some stuff, and I was gonna get my lunch at home. I just returned home, and I was just like, oh, let me grab some stuff. And I walked in, and I realized I was like the tallest person in the building. It's a thrill. It is a real thrill. I love it. They don't show it here, but there's a salmon version, and I want to try that one. But yeah, Philadelphia whipped cream cheese. It's good. Go have it. Go try it, Charles. I'm telling you, it will change your life. Okay, sometimes you need things to be easy. Okay.
I think it's probably because it's how I had cream cheese growing up as a kid. When my grandmother would make sopita, she would just take like a lump of cream cheese and just drop it in there.
Yeah.
And it
Well,
just kind of, I don't know. Don't I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. Kind of comes into the mentality.
promo code I'm whipped.
You could have done with it good, but okay.
I'm whipped good. Whipped good by the cream cheese, man. I am totally whipped for this stuff right now. Mm.
I'll go next here because mine is pretty brief because I don't have a ton of information.
Mm.
Um, but I went to a wedding a couple of weeks ago, um, and I never got around to asking what company made this, where they got it, but they had these really cool. Um, it's made of like a like pool noodle material, tiny little
Interesting.
thing. Um, and they've got little LED lights in them, so you can like rave with them and whatever. It's hit them together. It's pretty cool. It's like light up pool noodles, but they're tiny. They're probably the size of like a racing baton in track and field. Maybe no more than a foot and a half, maybe.
I'm trying to find. I mean, they do sell LED illuminated deluxe pool noodles. Well, would you look at that? They're water resistant.
What you got here?
Okay, that's interesting. That's some new bit of technology there. I know. I mean, they do sell those LED things that they put at the bottom of a vase to make them like color up and stuff. So, not totally out of the question for sure. Okay.
They were fun to play with. I brought a couple home with me. I'll turn them on every now and then. It's a fun time. Promo code Illuminated Pool Noodle.
Okay. Well, apparently they do exist. That's cool. All right. Now I'm just looking at LED hair extensions. All right. I'm trying to find it. I can't, but I'm sure there's somewhere. All right. Next.
Um, since we're food themed, there's a lot of stuff in life you have to go for, and sometimes in life you just have to kind of know what makes you happy. Life's short. We're all gonna kind of fade at some point, whether we're 32 at my age because of eating too much Taco Bell, or at 99. And you need to find those enjoyments during breakfast, during lunch, during dinner, or a little snacky snack. A little snacky snack during the day. And today I woke up at like 6 in the morning. I had court in Fort Pierce, so that was a 45-minute drive that I had to do. So at like 6:10, I had some Cheerios. That's not my non-sponsor. I like Honey Nut Cheerios. The problem is sometimes it's just you'll never get full from it. It's good for a hearty breakfast and everything like that, but it's not gonna last you. I got a quart at like 9:15, guys. It was a quick, continuance going from there. I'm like, man, I'm starving. I'm driving. I'm driving back to my satellite office. I'm like, man, I need some donuts. I haven't had donuts in a while. I've been good. I've been good.
Mm.
Usually in Martin County, I get Jupiter donuts, but that's not what we were talking about today because I was in Fort Pierce. And there's like many ways to get to my satellite office, but I was on Orange Avenue. I'm just thinking there, I'm just like, man, I'm driving down, and then there's two donut places that you always go to when I'm ramen. If I'm getting Jupiter donuts in Martin, but I'm in Fort Pierce, when I'm like, I could just get a donut. I could get two donuts. I get two donuts, go from there, and I sling on by to Dixie Cream Donuts, and I did not just get one. I didn't get two. I got I'm not gonna try to curse. I got a hella ton of donuts. I was like, I'm thinking about everything. My paralegal was at his son's little award ceremony because moving to the fourth grade to the fifth grade means something. I don't know. I think that's just expected. But hey, you do what you gotta do. Parents, that's the cost of doing business. So I'm like, well, his kid likes these kind of donuts. I like donuts. Me and his kids, we have the same kind of concept with foods. You guys, we just eat everything. But then I'm like, but we got to go to the other Vero satellite office in there to meet the new people, do onboard. I'm like, let me bring them a little snacky snack. So I go and get a dozen of it. And when I had never actually been inside Dixie Cream Donuts before, I only just had my paralegal just kind of get them every now and then because he lives in Fort Pierce. I'm like, if we're going to this meeting, can you go and get this for me? And he's like, yeah, that's cool. So when I went inside there, I heard like angelic songs playing in the background, like you're in the first time, if you guys have recall, Because Thor came out. So if you were in Thor the first time, he had like Stormbreaker, make it Avengers Infinity War and all that stuff, and it's like the awesomeness. That's how I felt going through those gated doors, and then I saw variety of donuts I've never seen before. They had, and I'll tell you what I got. I got like a little.
I'm gonna look on their
buying for
Yelp
everybody.
page right now, so we'll look
If
at
they
it.
can get you it, I don't know what they promote, but I saw like Oreo topping donuts that I didn't get. They had the maple bacon donuts, but not in the Long John version, but the regular circular donuts. They had some donut holes, which I'm not really crazy about. I'd rather just have a full donut stuffed in. What I had for myself was pink glazed, and then I had a white glazed pineapple topping, and it was very good. I know how we have the debate about pineapple going on pizza, and
I hope
3
I
years
got the
later,
right location here.
is it Fort Pierce?
So I put Fort Pierce. That's what the front looks like. I would hope. Dixie Cream Donuts, made fresh daily.
Or maybe it's them. I can't really tell. Fort Pierce. Yeah, that's them.
All right, cool beans.
So the filling was. We made that debate 3 years ago. Pineapple go in pizza, and then I finally concluded that does go in pizza. That's fine. Let people live their lives and be happy. Pineapple definitely goes on a donut for a jelly filling. I'm just telling you right now, it's hella good. But then they had bear claws and that Oreo thing. I'm gonna go back for it, and I'm gonna get the Long Johns, and then I got all this other stuff. And I got raspberry filled. I think that's the Oreo one. The one with the guy's hand.
That's the Oreo one. I see it.
They didn't have any glaze, but when I got to the satellite office, I stuffed my mouth so quickly with the pineapple filling and then the pink one. I said, "Nah, man, I can't take this ish home. I'll eat all 10 of them on the car ride." So I was like, I gave some to my paralegal. I'm like, "Here, give it to you, give it to your kids," and stuff like that. And I brought it over to the girls at work. I'm like, "All right, don't y'all say I never did anything for y'all. I'm out." It was just so good. It was fresh. It was fluffy. It had good sugar attack. It probably gave me a crash, but it's okay. You always tip your donut people. If you don't tip your donut people, I don't trust you. Like you tip your barber, you tip your donut people. But I was a very happy man. I was happy, and this was me going at like 9:30, and they still had stock because that's nothing worse than going to like a deli place or sweets place, and you're past the hours, and you're like, "Oh shit, I'm not gonna get anything." So Dixie Cream Donuts, Fort Pierce, get you some. Promo code. Promo code. I want to find like something cute with it, but I can't. Dope. Homer Simpson. There you go. He loves donuts on the donuts.
All right. Okay. That looks good. I see the one with the pineapple filling inside there.
It was good.
That was lemon. Oh, that one's a lemon one. But either way.
They were good.
Yeah. All right. Well,
get you some.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. Well, so that's it for those. We got through those pretty expeditiously. Normally we take forever on these, but that's probably my fault. Anyways, so let's move on to the next part of the show. Let's look into the handsomest National League managers, Charles.
Alrighty.
So let me
some appearances.
Let me pull up my list here of all the current MLB managers, and then we'll get started. I don't want all of them. I want the current ones. There we go. Current National League managers. So let's pull up the screen here, and we shall start. Actually, let me get the donuts out of the way. They're making me hungry. Okay, I might just dip into some of my mixed berry whipped cream cheese to satiate myself afterwards.
You can never go wrong with donut.
So let's start with Torey Lovulo, who is the manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks. So let's head on over to Phoenix. And there's our boy. There's Torey Lovulo, Charles. What do you think of this man? That's him from the side for profile. Look at him as one of the coaches with the Blue Jays. That's him from the front.
Looks like a MAGA guy. I can't do it.
Oh no! All right then. So there's.
He might not be.
There's.
And I'm not saying that you can't support who you want to support. I'm just saying that there's a type.
All right.
There's a type. It's drier than the Sahara Desert with that. Sorry.
Next is Brian Snitker, who's the manager of the Atlanta Braves.
I think I'm compelled to say yes, just on the sole basis that that's like my paralegal's team.
So there's Brian Snitker right there. That's.
Look on my thing.
I mean, there he is looking.
Oh yeah, sure. No,
There we go.
just
was-
I never saw him without the cap before, and it's literally
Yeah,
like a testicle with some hair.
He's not okay. Well then, I was gonna say he was bald, but all right. Next, David Ross, Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, because he's still coming
Look at
out
him.
of like being a player.
Yeah,
So he still probably keeps it stacked.
got a good beard.
You know,
He's got a good
he's
beard.
got a good beard.
Yeah.
Ross is fine.
All right.
Kind of just a human meat shield for that organization.
Yeah.
But whatever.
All right, look at his GF right there. All right. Okay, so that's David Ross. All right, so there's your first handsome manager for the National League. So, who was who was your American League favorite one?
I think it was Kevin Cash.
Kevin Cash. That's right. Yeah, it was Kevin Cash. So, all right, so the Rays manager has made it to the final.
And the auto no was Charlie Montoya.
Yeah. So then we've got David Bell, the manager of the Cincinnati Reds.
You know what's sad? This is how I'm going to know who is the active managers of all these teams.
Yeah.
Let that sink in.
Yeah. Well, here's David Bell. I'll tell you this: he will fight for you. He's always he's with the Reds. It's a terrible situation. But
His cheeks creep me out because it kind of looks like a creative character. Like he has a very strong jaw,
like in Skyrim or something.
but very sunken cheeks, and I'm just kind of like, okay.
It's kind of like, what would you think the definition of a tough guy ought to be?
All right, but he will defend you.
Someone's got to.
All right. Well, next is Bud Black of the Colorado Rockies.
Let's see. It's been a while since I looked at Bud Black. Let's take a peek.
So,
Bud Black.
There we go. There's Bud Black.
His old pictures of that mustache reminds me of John Turturro. He's got good hair for an old guy.
Yeah, here he is, all cleaned up with the Rockies on media day.
He's old.
He's
I ain't no sugar baby.
profile.
All right.
Okay.
I have my own job.
All right then. Well, let's go then to Dave Roberts. Huh? How about good old Davey? He broke your heart in 2004. Will he mend it in 2022?
I think when I said about Dusty Baker was like he's the one that would kick me out of bed to go to church with him in the morning. Dave Roberts is like, here's the cab money. I don't know.
Man, he has not aged well.
No, he hasn't at all.
Look at him when he was younger. Dear Lord. Wow, he has not aged well at all.
Listen, if you were the manager of the Dodgers making bold predictions each year and getting nowhere. I mean, Dave Roberts is cool. You know what? You want to know why you date Dave Roberts? Because you feel like he can get you connected with cool-ass people. He's in L.A.
Hollywood, yeah.
He's got all these great talents on the team. You let him buy you the sushi. All right. That's all I can say. You let him buy you the sushi.
All right. Next, Don Mattingly, the Marlins.
So here's a Don Mattingly thing. It's more about, I've known you since I was a child and you're like the childhood friend. And right now I'm just kind of desperate because I don't know what love is. I want you to show me. But Don he's kind of going through a different look, man. Different look and different phrases. Can't do it. He's kind of like, I've been on a Curb Your Enthusiasm kick. So yeah. I really feel like he's like pre-Larry David before Larry David comes in.
Okay.
But the funny thing about the show is that they let Don just kind of, or not Don, they let Larry just go on like random dates with people in the story. So it's kind of funny. Don Mattingly back in the day, no question. The stash,
especially
man.
The stash,
but now it's kind of like, it's all down.
It's got the reading glasses now and all. All right, Craig Counsell, Milwaukee.
Craig should still be a babe. Let's see. It's been a minute. Counsell.
Yeah, he's playing. Yeah, that's him.
Let's see what. I mean, mildly attractive if you're kind of attracted.
He's on one of the younger end of the managers right now.
Yeah, mildly attractive if you're kind of attracted to like Midwestern-looking 40-year-old actors.
Which is why he's in Milwaukee. So
yeah. I mean that's kind of his vibe, right? Like a John Noble-esque kind of look to him. It's kind of basically like, oh hey, if guy who plays Jim Halpert ended up being a baseball manager forgot his name.
Interesting. Yeah, he's Mr.
Yeah, a little bit.
He's-
A little bit.
He's Mr. Fantastic, isn't he?
Yeah, well, who knows? Because God knows in this universe. Explain to me how you can do like a multiverse movies with different characters not coming to play, but you're not going to recast Chadwick Boseman. They let James Bond get recast. I understand he died of cancer, but I think T'Challa's interesting. I don't think his sister's interesting, and Namor's lame. I'm saying that right now. You can hear me on live TV. Swimmerman is lame. How do you have slick back hair being in the water? That's the one thing I never understood. Like, if you guys know Namor. Anywho, my nerdiness aside.
Buck Showalter.
Oh,
Another old friend.
Hell nah.
All right.
No, and it's not because Buck is just old. Because hey, I'm gonna let Dave Roberts take me out to eat. But Buck, man, Buck has looked the same for the last 20 years.
That's true. He's aged not
He
much
hasn't
at all.
aged.
He's been, yeah, exactly. Okay. Oh, how about another old friend, Joe Girardi?
Joe's a babe, man. What?
Yeah.
Joe
Yeah.
would beat that ass, man.
Exactly. All right.
You disrespect me at dinner. I forgot who he said that would grab the guy's arm and then knock him out. But Joe Girardi would throw hands. His forearms are huge,
Yeah.
man. Joe was just angry because he's been perpetually bald since like 1979. But it's okay. Definitely, we give love to Joe Girardi.
All right.
He's
Okay.
a tough guy, man. He's that guy that whoever is your kid's dad at the prom will look at him like, damn, I don't want to meet your dad. That's a.
I hope
massive-
Andrew's getting geared up for like an Andrewverse after this. Like, I hope he's planning something while we're doing this. Okay, next. Wow, I didn't even know who was the manager of the Pirates, but apparently it's Derek Shelton.
All right, let's look at Derek Shelton.
There he is.
Oh, wait, hold on. I have my mic on mute. I wanted to mention something quickly about Joe Girardi.
Oh,
For whatever he does, the one thing that I will always remember about him was he was the one that came out of the stands at Wrigley and told everyone that the game was canceled after Darryl Kyle's death.
that's right.
Joe Girardi is a
That's
stand-up
right.
human being, boys.
Yeah.
For the rest of my life, I'm going to remember him for doing that. That was just, and he told everyone, basically like, calm down. You'll learn more soon, but this is serious. Don't boo. That just showed me right then what kind of a person he was.
Yeah.
Joe Girardi.
Yep.
He's a daddy.
Yeah. So there's it's well here we are with was it Derek Shelton for the Pirates.
He kind of looks like he could be like Alec Baldwin's stand-in.
Okay. All right, don't get shot.
That's all I can comment on that.
All right then.
He also looks very angry in some of these photos.
Well, he's the manager of the Pirates. Wouldn't you?
It
be?
is Pittsburgh. That place is a little toxic waste, so I understand.
Okay. Next, we've got Bob Melvin, manager of the
God.
Padres.
Bob Melvin, another one who's looked the same for like 50 fucking years.
That is true as well. So there's Bob Melvin when he was with the A's. Let's see, there he is in San Diego.
Looks like
Yeah.
Marty Funkhauser's actor. But that's a
That's it.
disrespect to that actor.
Yeah,
A little bit.
yeah.
I mean,
He looks a
No.
little like Bob Saget for some reason to me. Okay. Yeah. All right. So that's a no. Next. Ooh, I think this is gonna be hard. Gabe Kapler.
I mean, listen. We are
The
Babe
reason
Kepler.
for the
Babe
reason for this
Kepler.
right now.
The man who, I'm gonna take care of him. All right? I'm gonna beat him up. I'm gonna take him to Dixie Cream Donuts. I'm like, listen, man, we go from there. I'll go to the synagogue with him one time. His wife can come along. It'll be perfectly fine. Just like, you talk about the standard, the blueprint of what players transitioning
Damn.
to management ought to look like. It's right there.
He
It's
has
right
a
there.
fantastic beard.
It's a fantastic beard. It's like, the commercials of the guys in Rogaine, how black it is. That's what it is. And that's probably not even.
But he's got the salt and pepper in like all the right places.
Guys, God picks winners and losers, and Babe Kepler is the one who won out in the managers, where you have, like, potato fuck that is Buck Showalter, with all due respect, Buck, we still love you from back in the day. Nah, man, it just changed. And this man's been around before. I'm like, I never paid attention to it. But that one time I read that ESPN article, I'm like, oh, man, we can be married. It's okay. He's gonna understand why I'm daddy true up in this.
Oh boy.
It's just the look of the sea. He has a weird diet, the raw meat, and then just like maybe like a percentage of blueberries. I'm like, buddy, what you doing here? But yeah, Dave Kepler, the Helen of Troy, the face that launched 1,000 ships, right here for you.
Yeah, the Phillies missed out on him. They had to hire Joe Girardi just to try and even make up for it,
Well, it's okay. It's okay,
All right, the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, Oliver Marmol.
Man, you're gonna go from greatness to this. Let's take a peek at him. I don't know.
Oliver Marmol. Oh, wow, I didn't even know he was the manager of the Cardinals. I know they fired their manager.
Dan Matheny.
No, he got fired. No, he was the manager a while ago. But yeah, there he is. So, he's on the younger end, of course.
They have Mike Schlitt. Here's the thing about Oliver Mall. I've seen it all in Dolphin Mall in Miami. I'm not impressed. Shania Twain, that don't impress me much, dude. So you got the looks, but haven't got the touch. Right. I mean, seriously, is that not like 8th Street? It's around. It's okay.
All right. Next, Dave Martinez, Washington.
All right. Let's see. I haven't thought about Dave Martinez in some time since the World Series.
He's wearing sunglasses in a lot of them.
It falls down to I've seen it, man. I've seen it.
Yeah,
I know that
same
guy.
Thing. The same.
He's the guy that's at Applebee's with his girlfriend and the 2 kids, and he's still gonna flirt with the waitress. I can't get behind it. I've seen that, Dave.
All right. Well, and that's it. That's your National League manager. So
rankings:
Gabe Kapler, then Joe Girardi.
Kevin Girardi.
So, okay, well, finalist for the National League is Gabe Kapler, of course, right?
Of course. Absolutely.
Right. So, Gabe Kapler versus Kevin Cash.
Oh, Gabe Kapler wins it.
All right.
Kevin Cash gets a little bit of appreciation.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, Gabe Kapler, you are the handsomest manager in Major League Baseball. You are final 4 in this thing that we're doing.
Now, can I give you my winner? It's not even a nominee. It's a winner for ugliest manager of all time. And it's
that's right. Okay, of all time, not just now.
And it hurts a little bit to say it.
Is it Joe Torre?
It's Joe Torre. Joe Torre is fugly, man. I love Joe Torre. We love Joe Torre. You talk about men who don't age, but Joe Torre looks like a. Okay,
yeah,
so
even young Joe Torre wasn't the most handsome of men.
But you saw the Rescue Rangers movie, right? You know how they had Sweet Pete? It's like they just took a picture. They didn't say, hey, let's look at what Peter Pan would look like. Let's just say Joe Torre. And I'm right. I haven't even seen the movie. But I saw a picture of Sweet Pea. I'm like, I thought Joe Torre. Joe Torre literally looks like a protocol of what Pete from Steamboat Willie would look like in human form. I'm pretty sure Walt Disney, because they copy everything in Disney, looked into the future and said, this guy, Joe Torre, what's he about? I'm like, oh, we're going to make him Steamboat Willie. I love Joe Torre. He did a lot of things for establishments, but when we created this list, he's better now not managing. I can't explain it, but it's just not there. The hat didn't help either. He literally looks like a caricature. Like if he went to the carnival, and we're gonna get a little bit mean here, but I think Joe Torre is just gonna cry with his $100 bills, and that's okay, wiping it down. But if we went to the carnival, and how at the fair they draw, it's a caricature go through, they would draw him normal. Okay.
All right. Oh gosh. Okay. So that's it. I guess next time we'll do NFL. Let's do that.
Yeah, it's not gonna be Sean McVay, kids.
Let's gosh. This was weird. Andrew, do you have an Andrewverse? Do you want to go someplace?
Weird? How's this weird? It was beautiful. It was okay.
I mean, if you guys can kickstart me.
We gave you a lot of material.
Venezuela lasagna is always going to be the best education I can give.
That was, we'll see what happens along the way. But I do want to talk about juiced balls.
All right, let's talk about juiced balls. We went from talking about handsome men in baseball. Let's talk about the balls in baseball.
Well, that's kind of been the big thing, and the NBA is happening. That's stuff. We kind of
we don't need to talk about it. Yeah, because you know what? What do you need to know about the Eastern Conference Finals when everybody's just right in the dick of Boston? So go ahead, pick your winners. I'm done with this.
So, Andrew, have you been keeping up with this juice balls thing? Like,
Not the recent developments. Not as much as I was in past seasons.
well,
Uh, I've been
yeah,
keeping up with it decently.
it's been weird, and players are kind of getting fed up with a lot of things. There's a ton of factors with regards to it. I saw a fantastic video, like I mentioned earlier, by Baseball Doesn't Exist, where he explains the manufacturing process for the baseballs, and that it has come down a lot of the changes, or at least the feelings, it really does come down to the fact that, one, you can't make, like, yeah, you could try and make the baseballs all identical to each other, relatively speaking, but honestly you're not going to get the same type of baseball every single time. And different like suppliers of things, and it like the cowhide, just a change to that, or a different cow or something like that, will change how a baseball responds. The laces, like the wool that they get from the sheep that the laces are made from, like that also affects it. I didn't know this, there's a special, like, pit of mud in New Jersey.
Okay, my turn. My turn. I figured out my Andrew verse.
All
I
right,
think.
a pit of mud. That's what we got from there. All right, let's get into the Andrewverse now. All right, let's do it.
Um, I'm going to use this opportunity. I'm going to bounce off what. Oh, you didn't add the quote in. I'm
I
sad.
haven't gotten to it. I will add to it, but it's honestly scary how much he knows this stuff, or how he knows this stuff.
Um, so I'll take this opportunity to explain. I mean, I'll jump off what you're saying and add to it with the how a baseball is made.
Let's do it.
So, well, first off, I just want to say this. Around, I think it was in 2018 when the juice ball allegations first started. Uh, MLB essentially bought Rawlings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was mentioned in the
Rawlings
video.
is the official manufacturer of Major League Baseballs.
And Andrew loves their wallets, if I remember correctly.
That is true. I have a
Non-sponsor.
Rawlings wallet.
Mm-hmm. They've been a non-sponsor for you twice, I think.
So they bought Rawlings in order to supposedly be able to have better quality control over the ball production. How a baseball is made, I'm not going to go into like the nitty gritty.
I'll be posting here behind on the screen an article of the process while you're talking, anyways.
So it basically starts out with something about maybe the size of a ping pong ball. It's made out of cork. That's the base center of it. Then they wind a lot of different string and thread and yarn and shit. It's essentially in multiple layers that they spin around this main center cork thing. Oh, right. They call it the pill. Thank you, brain, for remembering that for some reason.
It is scary.
So,
Yeah, it's fucking frightening.
well, it's ironic that we're discussing this because I decided to watch that episode a few weeks ago. Why? I don't know. I just felt like it. Was laying in bed, couldn't sleep, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to watch how baseballs are made again. It's probably like the 5th time I've watched that video. So anyway, so they build it up in layers. Supposedly it gives it better resilience so it can bounce back better and things like that. And let's see, there you go. Then they put the leather on it. They stitch it together with red yarn, which is hand stitched, by the way. There are 108 stitches on a baseball.
Wow. I did not know that.
I didn't know either. I thought there was some person in Guatemala just doing it because baseball's now.
Look at section 8, gentlemen. Am I right or am I right? Go back. Francisco, go back.
I'm trying. I'm trying to keep up.
Under sewing hide.
There we go. Quality control right there. There we go.
Number 6. Under sewing hide.
Okay. Ah, there it is. There it is. Yeah, 108 stitches in the process with the first and last completely hidden. Oh, interesting. An average of 13 to 14 minutes is required to hand sew a baseball.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Whenever I come up with a weird stat like that, we should just play the audio clip of him saying he's frightened or terrified.
I was trying. I think I could do that. I think I can have like a soundboard.
I would say be.
I'll try and see if I can do like a. I think there's an app for like a soundboard that I can have like that I can like go to catchphrases and just do that.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
You call it Andrew's terrified.
That we should have trash. We should have frauds. We should have.
Call it Andrew's terrifying Andrewverse or something.
It's honestly scary how much he knows this stuff. That's another one. Jesus Christ, when Charles says that, it's actually kind of funny too.
But anyway, I
show,
don't
everyone.
remember exactly what causes the juicing. I think
the tears of Justin Verlander, apparently.
Yes, that too. I think part of it was due to how tightly the ball was wound. Because if the ball is wound tighter inside, that's a better power conductor, basically. And more energy transfers from the bat into the ball. Because if it's spaced out a little bit, that's what I think I remember hearing. I mean, I can understand why they would want to juice balls in primetime games or in big games. But, like, make it even, man. I mean, even now we've got the humidors in all stadiums, right?
Yeah, all of them have it. And I'm reading here in this article that they have tried. There's been attempts to automate especially the sewing cowhide covers process, and none have been successful thus far. So they're trying to. That's probably why they bought Rawlings too. Is trying to find a way to do that, to have an even or a relatively even. I don't know, makeup for each baseball. But I mean, it's been, home runs are down this season, and they're just, I think they're still actively trying to tweak what they're doing. Maybe some of it might be some actual malicious stuff that they're trying to, we're gonna try and rig some things. But I think some of that also has to do with how, like, they use a ton of baseballs, so they're obviously not going to be all equal and stuff like that. And
if I remember correctly, I think somewhere in the neighborhood of God,
oof.
I think it was in the neighborhood of
He's trying.
Can't use Google, buddy. We've now put you on this pedestal. We put you on this pedestal, and we can't get past it now.
Ooh.
I think like 65 baseballs are used per game.
Per game. Okay. Well, here in this article, it says, maybe not per game, but it says that 600,000 baseballs are used by all of the major league teams combined during the course of an entire season. That's a lot. Dear Lord.
And considering how much effort goes into making each one, it's amazing that they let you keep it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they won't let you keep a football.
There was a court case about that. So
I remember that from Conlaw.
Really? I don't remember that from Conlaw.
No, wait. No, that was the Barry Bonds case. The guy wanted to see if he could keep Barry Bonds' home run ball.
Ah, okay. All right. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up now. How many baseballs are used per game? Carry on.
Okay.
I
Right.
will say though that going back to the mud thing, I'm gonna bring it back here. There's a specific pit of mud used on a riverbank in it's near Pennsylvania.
They said New Jersey. They said New Jersey.
Pennsylvania, New Jersey, around there.
Yeah. It's a secret location, so nobody tampers with it.
And they've been using it they rub on baseballs. Supposedly it's this perfect
Blend.
grit, whatever. And they've been using it for like almost 100 years now.
It's like the Lazarus pit or something.
They just ship these buckets full of this mud to all of the ballparks, and then someone on the staff of whatever team rubs it up before the game. The advantage of that is it allows, they can put a little more mud on, they can put a little less mud on, whatever the home pitcher feels like. It's kind of like how footballs are inflated or deflated somewhat.
Yeah.
Quarterback's liking. Or like how, and I remember this from the 2003 Marlins World Series Championship video. Juan Pierre likes the grass cut a certain way, so he knows when he bunts, it's going to go this way.
Yep.
So it's kind of that same principle with the mud. Okay, I think I'll take us out of the Andrew verse now.
Well, we got baseball manufacturer Andrew in this one.
So you think that's how they all meet each other? They just go to a Tampa Bay Rays game, and then you see like the 5 different Andrews just all sitting there. That's like their what's the thing Superman does? The Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or whatever it's weird. I can't think the Hall of Justice. For some reason, I think of Andrew. I think that. Meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom.
Meanwhile, at the Andrewverse. Well, I kind of have it as a Star Trek, the Starship Enterprise. So it's like they're going through space and encountering each other, and then they're just beaming themselves up into the ship. So that's how I have it.
I'm really pissed off at myself now because my initial gut reaction was something in the neighborhood of 100 baseballs per game, but I tamped it down to 60. The average is about 84 to 120 baseballs.
Well then, yeah. So that was
after all.
Huh. The other thing that has also gotten some news, and we'll talk a little bit about this before we head into the cage, because we're at 1 hour and 38 minutes now. And it's the change to Oriole Park at Camden Yards.
A 2-week feud that's been going on.
Yeah, the New York Yankees came on by, and suddenly things changed, right? So, look, Camden Yards left field. It's been the thing. It's really been the thing. People are, aside from the juice balls, everybody's been commenting about Camden Yards and the ridiculousness of their left field wall. So, before, actually, Aaron Judge pretty upset after Camden Yards. So this was 5 days ago now. It cost him a 3-homer game.
He has 2 homers last night.
Yeah. So, his home run, his double, which would have been it traveled 399 feet per Statcast, nearly left the ballpark anyways. And that, I think there's a Twitter account called Would It Dong.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic name, but it's called Would It Dong. And for each home run that's hit over the course of a season, you can look it up and see how many of the current Major League ballparks would that home run have been a home run in.
Needless to say, a lot of the home runs to right field at Yankee Stadium wouldn't have made it out at other stadiums.
Right. So there's that, and of course there's like
Francisco, didn't you call it a little league porch?
I know I've never called it that. I called it a I called it oh the little doggy fence, the little doggy fence that you put out so your dog doesn't hop on over, it doesn't get out. That's what I called it, or the little thing that you use to block off your baby from getting out of a
Yeah.
sauna and getting into the kitchen or something.
Look, as I tell people,
That's
Like,
Yankee Stadium's right field.
your best hitters get paid for home runs, not for strikeouts, right? So we're just justifying them big ass contracts for Trevor Story, trash, and a few of those other guys. So you're welcome.
So the new left field wall is 30 feet farther this season than it was last season, and it's 5 feet taller. And it really is the hardest home run to hit in baseball now from left field. And the Orioles did it specifically because their pitchers sucked over the last few years. Their pitching has been awful. And I mean, rather than actually trying to improve that, they decided to, you know what, let's help them out and make left field just absolutely massive. And it's pretty interesting that the Marlins play in a pretty cavernous ballpark themselves, and even that is an easier ballpark to homer in than Camden Yards. It's added a brand new dynamic to it. A ton of teams are lowering, like Marlins Park. They've lowered the wall so many times and brought them in, like it's ridiculous. But they went the opposite this time, and I don't know. We'll see if other teams follow the trend in some places. I mean, the current according to Ballpark Factor, which you can see like on ESPN and stuff like that, the number one easiest place to hit a home run in is Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. And the Reds are the worst team in baseball and have had a hard time retaining pitchers. And yeah, maybe they'll look at something like that and be like, maybe we'll change something up here or there. Who knows? But they completely flipped the script in Baltimore with that. But of course, that's also going to affect their hitters at home. It'll make it harder for them. And some people who are advocates for it are saying, oh, it'll up like doubles and triples and things like that, which is what makes things interesting for people. It'll make the game more interesting rather than was it the three true outcomes or something like that, right?
Yeah. Right.
So, and okay, I can be for that. I can be a little bit for that, but it's really interesting. It's kind of one of the early talks of the season. Now that we're almost into June, so all right.
Like, I'm fine with them doing that, especially since it will increase the number of true or decrease the number of true outcomes. But it's so ugly.
That's what I was gonna ask. I mean, it wasn't the most elegant way of doing it. It wasn't the most elegant way.
It's like an amateur on the ballpark architect in MLB.
Well, that's what Aaron Judge said it was. It was like the Crater Park.
It's like, for Camden Yards is one of the most beautiful ballparks in the league right now. It holds up after over 30 years. It's incredible. And it is the archetype for all of the retro classics that have come since then, with the exception of Marlins Park. Because that's its own alien spaceship thing.
I read the article on Wikipedia. It's modern, like contemporary modern or something like that. It's really the only ballpark that's like that.
Exactly. It was perfect. And look, I get it. If you want to adjust the fence, fine. But at least have it blend in a little bit. Like, even the Marlins, you can hardly tell that the fence used to be that much further back.
Yeah. Relatively so, yes.
Like, if you've never been to the park, they blended it in pretty well.
Yeah.
They put the planters back there. You'd have to know or look really close that there was something going on. There used to be something there. It's plain to the eye that the thing at Oriole Park just does not belong.
Yeah, you can see the photo there of on the side there how it really does jut out into the stands, where it really is very much art, really artificial. But yeah, I haven't played. I haven't renewed my Game Pass to play MLB 22. So I haven't been able to see how it plays in the video game version, but I think it'd be pretty interesting. I bet you that one never gets picked for Home Run Derby, Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh, Francisco, I meant to tell you this in chat, but I'm going to call you out online.
Yes.
Get the game for the Switch, you moron, so we can play.
Well,
Gosh. It's all cloud-based, right?
No, it's a real one. They actually did make a real port of it, but I'm still not sure. I'm still not sure if anything, I'll try and just renew my Game Pass when the time comes. Well, you know what?
I feel like Bakugo in My Hero Academia, just calling you an idiot all the time.
See, what happens is that, the gloatingness has returned because not only did your team beat you in those hockey semifinals, but also now he's just tapping that ass in Switch World. Or not Switch World, but MLB World.
Trying to get me the game. I'll see. We'll see. Maybe a price drop or something especially after like this summer's gonna be. Charles, we got Death Stranding. I'm almost done with Batman. Then Death Stranding's happening, and then Splatoon. And then things.
Oh yeah, well that's September. That's when it's like, oh yeah, I'm not playing multiplayers, and all of a sudden that happens.
Okay.
Like,
So maybe sometime in the summer I'll renew the Game Pass. I have 3 months. So, okay. So we're at 147. I feel like we've done enough talk with this other stuff, so we might as well head on over to the cage. Are you ready, Charles?
I am ready. Welcome everybody, your weekly Truplex, the Cage with Charles. Full disclosure, wrestling is not fake. It is scripted. It's a stage fight. It's a song and dance about men and women beating the holy hell out of each other, trying to establish their legacies, reach new heights, climb the mountain, give the middle finger to the boss, tell Vince McMahon that he ain't shit, and then realizing that, damn it, it's Vince McMahon. He can do whatever the hell he wants. And then some. What does it mean about blood, sweat, and tears? Are you going to take a gamble on yourself? Are you going to go double or nothing when you're at that blackjack table and poker and all that other fun stuff that, I don't gamble that much. I gamble just being me and eating donuts. But there's a reason why I mention it, because we have Double or Nothing, boys. That's really soon. It's this weekend, Sunday, May 29th. We're going to talk about that more. Nothing really to update about New Japan yet. There was some stuff in regards to Kota Ibushi, but I think I can hold that out next week as it develops. Ring of Honor, something going on there. Impact, we'll talk about that. New Japan, aside from Kota, they're doing the Battle of the Super Junior heavyweights going at it. I don't have predictions because I'm so late into the brackets. I feel I hate that. You know how people will do like fantasy football after like the day after the first season started, and you're like, what? Why would you? That makes no sense. That's basically me half the time. But let's focus on the eye on the prize. Let's talk a little bit about Sasha Banks and Naomi and WWE and Vince McMahon. Last time I left you cool kids was with the information that they just kind of said, hey, we're out. And then they just kind of bailed. And we had to wait and see. We were waiting for that shoe to fall on the other foot, or whatever way Andrew had described it when we were talking on the show and in the group chat. But the shoe fell, right? Is that the phrase I have to use, Andrew? Shoe fell on the other foot, or other shoe dropped? Yeah. There you go. I'm looking through the chat as I'm playing games and looking at the card at the same time. So I'm multitasking at its finest because it's hard to save during Age of Calamity. Well, they announced that Sasha Banks and Naomi have been suspended indefinitely, titles vacated, going to do whatever they're going to do, a tournament. I don't know how, considering the fact that there isn't a lot of women's left on the roster to do a women's tag team when you have 3 separate brands going in there. But it causes some of that case of controversy that we spoke about of who idea was it? How do you feel misused? We talked about what the rumors were, and we're going to talk about it again. As I mentioned last week, everything that I'm telling you and reporting you on, as if I'm a reporter, is based off hearsay, speculation, and the Twitter. Twitter, kids, believe it or not, is not a viable source of information and news. Go figure. But it's not. However, it's where I'm at least going to get posts from Brian Alvarez, Dave Meltzer, all this other stuff. We don't support ringside news. I hate trans people. We're not cool with that. But there's both sides coming in, feelings of broken promises. And I think what happens is when it comes to any
information that's out there. There's always a smear campaign, and the rumor mill was Sasha Banks was unhappy with the fact that she lost her WrestleMania spot to Ronda Rousey, and you can get that, sure, but I think it's bigger than that. And I can see as both arguments, and I would go into argument one in support of the performers is that they're just generally unhappy. You don't let them maximize the amount of money that they could take in. You don't help them succeed and build their legacy. And you're hurting them because for a long time you're preventing them from doing Twitch channels, you're preventing them from doing OnlyFans, whatever they want to do to make additional income, and it would be a lot of money that they could make from that, right? Damn you, Vince McMahon, everything that you do, and you don't want to have your time wasted. I'll say this, and if it comes across sexist, it's not with the intent. That's how I'm going to preface it. Women wrestlers tend to have a shorter span of time that they could wrestle professionally to a degree, because why? They might get married, they might have children, they might want to retire, they might go to different alternatives. You hear other wrestlers go out there. You don't get the wrestlers who will kind of wrestle until they're 50 who are females. They still do. They're still out there, but it's not as much of a norm as composed to male wrestlers, because Ric Flair is going to try to go back to a ring for whatever reason, even though he's how old, boys? Like 70 something, 74. Usually it's kind of like, hey, we hold this up. We start a family, and there's time that's taken off. So for these other wrestlers, maybe they want to kind of strike while the iron is hot on maximum amount of not just profit and money, but also legacy, because things change when you have kids. And it goes both ways. Johnny Gargano, one of my favorite wrestlers, when him and his wife, Candice LeRae, they got, pregnant, or she got pregnant, he's the father. I don't know how they phrase that. I know some people get insulted with like, no, one person gets pregnant, they get pregnant. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know these things. I have cats and dogs. I got my parents. We're not having kids here. I have donuts. Leave me be. Bring it all back. They both took time off after their child was born, but you want to strike at what's hot. So I can get the idea on the wrestler side. It's like, I want to maximize everything: profit, legacy, establishment, and accomplishments. I want to be the best of the best. And I'm also an independent contractor, so why can't I go contract elsewhere? Because remember, that's how Vince labels them. However, if I don't want to work with you anymore, why can't I just bail? You're going to have me on a contract? Okay, you're not going to have me non-compete? Just void my contract. Don't pay me the leftovers. Let me go do my way. That's kind of hell, isn't it? It's kind of like how we had to go to law school to be lawyers, but we still have to pass the bar exam. But I don't want to go to law school anymore. I just want to take the bar exam. Let's all be honest here. We don't need that 30-year law school, do we? Not really. I'm saying that right now. You put practicums in the second year, and then we have the same effect. I can get the idea of wanting to leave. So I can get that frustration. On the other side of it, on the boss side of it, on the Vince McMahon side of it, I'm like, you're mad? I pay you a crap ton of money. I don't want to fire you, because you might think it's because I don't want the other people to have you, other people being AEW, Impact, or whatever. However, WWE salaries are not the same as competitor salaries. They're not. That's like me leaving my job now and going to work for the state. We're talking about a big decrease in income. Not everybody has a lot of money they can funnel. And here's the thing, too. That big fear of AEW has everybody kind of leaves a little bit. And I'll tell you why. Because this is not AEW from 3 years ago. This is AEW that now has faced CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, Chris Jericho, the new dudes. It's very crowded at the school pool, buds. Someone's going to take a deuce there. But for Vince McMahon's mentality to defend him is like, and it's all scripted. I won't say fake. I'll never say it on the show. But it's just a story. And your actor is writing out my play, right? So why can't you just do what I need you to do if I'm not doing conduct that is detrimental to the workplace, in that sense? What is it so bad that you have? And you hear different stories, and it's interesting because Serena Deeb, who's challenging Thunder Rosa, AEW's Double or Nothing this year, did a promo on her feud saying, what's the typical woman Vince McMahon had to maybe go get implants, or to even get a chance in WWE, I had to go get implants. Personal choice affecting prospective outcome for jobs. Sounds kind of familiar, right? Sounds kind of like the trajectory of most women trying to make in careers in any aspect of the world.
Yeah.
And if that sounds very harsh for you guys out there who think that I'm talking about breaking glass ceilings, it's reality that you have to face, because it's every single place that you go to, in acting, in wrestling, in the professional world that we're in then, and just getting jobs, right? It's hard to get jobs. But on Vince's mindset, my mentality would be like, all right, so you're being insubordinate, you're wanting to leave, I'm paying you money. I gave you a WrestleMania win. I'm doing something that, even though you're not winning the main titles or establishing the tag team creative control and everything like that, I'm giving you television time. And you know what the most important thing as a wrestler would be to me if I went to the wrestling business? Not if I'm known for my cool finisher. I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't care about that. It's about, am I getting that TV time? Am I on that pay-per-view? Or am I just sitting in the back and catering, eating lemon pepper and carbonated soda?
To grow that
What do you
brand.
think? Yeah, it's all about that brand being out there. And I'll tell you right now, I don't care if I'm going out and this is because how do you like your wrestling? The same thing as if you're a wrestler, what kind of wrestler do you want to be? What kind of performer do you want to be? Because if I'm out there 100 times and I'm just laying on my back, taking the pin, being a jobber, I'm going to be the best damn jobber that's out there, right? If I'm a comedy act, maybe that's what my skill suits are. And you don't know what it is, but I think part of the issue, and this is just me now going to the culture, is some of these signees were from the Indies or from NXT, which Triple H groomed it very differently in comparison to what it actually is. And Vince's main roster, where you can have serious characters get put into a comedy gimmick, chasing a championships, the 24/7 title. People get renamed all the damn time now. You know, it made people that we knew that they renamed them going from there. And the only time it's working with the Elias Ezekiel storyline, but they'll rechange people that you were in NXT and then they'll change for things. Like even when they don't make the miles change, like Bobby Roode coming to NXT and then they change it to Robert Roode. Little weird shit like that. And then there's a few other ones that are escaping me right now. But those are the examples that you have. Or Keith Lee, and they try to reintroduce you. Why? Because it's a stage show. The WWE style is more about characters and just, you know, merchandise. You want your serious wrestling. And maybe that's where these women want to go to. Maybe that's what Naomi and Sasha Banks want to do. They're saying, hey, I paid my dues. I did whatever. I don't like this. I want to see what if the grass is green on the other side. And I think in support of the performer, you should see if that grass is greener, because we all want to quit our jobs because it's indentured servitude if you won't release us from our contracts. Yeah, you can do the non-compete. The non-compete is standard. But here's the thing, guys, is that what Vince is doing is saying, no. If you're going to cause an uprising like this and just say these titles don't mean anything, we're out, I'm going to penalize you in the worst way so no one else does it, because there has to be a lesson being taught, right? Every party needs a pooper, and someone brought you party pooper. That's the mentality that comes in. Vince ain't going to have it. So instead of firing them, paying them to come at home and do the 9-day release, you just freeze that contract. You keep them. And then because I think if you make amends, or if you approach it in a different manner, maybe Vince gives you what you want. He released Toni Storm. Either he didn't see value in her, or maybe he felt that she was truly unhappy and just released her and let the non-compete go. Or then come Black Friday or Black Monday, when everybody just gets fired and released and are still under non-compete. But as someone who, if I did a business, you know, it's like, if this is going to help you and if you did me dirty, I'm going to do you dirty. And a walkout is dirty on both sides. It's the same thing with labor strikes. It's dirty on both sides. There's no heroes. I'm not talking about labor strikes in sports. I'm talking about labor strikes, guys, where you're picketing and you're outside and doing all that stuff. The basketball cats, they're all entitled when they talk about lockouts, right? They're not the ones getting hosed outside for trying to picket for natural work rights. But it's a dirty side. So if they start it dirty, he's going to do it dirty a little bit. It's expected, too. It's weird. More to come on that. Let's go into shift over to AEW Nothing for time. Am I going to buy it? Maybe. $50 is harder for this card because I'm not exactly hyped for 2/3 of this card. I am hyped for Adam Page versus CM Punk. They're beating the hell out of each other's boys and like stealing each other's finishing moves. I love that ish. That's good. I'm about that. I'm about to a degree House of Black versus Death Triangle, because it's been a long feud that they've kind of gestated, and Pac is finally back. There's some visa issues and COVID and stuff like that, and Ray Phoenix was hurt. But House of Black is Malachi Black, formerly known as Aleister Black, Buddy Matthews, formerly known as Buddy Murphy over in WWE, and Brody King versus Pac, Penta Escura, who used to be Penta Zé Remedio, and they changed his name 50 times, and Ray Phoenix. Trios matches could be fun. You want good wrestling on pay-per-views. AEW doesn't do like a super amount of character work. It's just more wrestling in and of itself. MJF versus Wardlow is going to be good. Big meaty men slapping MJF, who's like the best talker in the game right now. I'm definitely for it. Charles is happy for it. This is Wardlow just basically coming out and basically establishing himself as a solo guy. Remember, he screwed over MJF when he was going against Punk at Revolution, the dog collar match, and he used to be boys. Other matches, so I can't talk most about it because some of the matches aren't confirmed yet, like the Owen Hart finals I know Adam Cole's in the finals, but they don't have anything in the women's yet, and who he's going against. Presumably it's Samoa Joe. That's fine. I don't care about the Hardy Bros versus Young Bucks. I saw it in Ring of Honor. It's fine. Jericho Appreciation Society, 5 dudes against, Black Combat Blackpool Combat Club of, man, I can't speak to him. Sorry, Brian Danielson, John Moxley, Eddie Kingston, Santana Ortiz. I would watch it. I would enjoy it. I'm not happy with how they did the structure of the inner circle because that was Jericho's thing, and he had a couple of boys that he betrayed. They screwed it all up partially because of Sammy Guevara. We'll talk more about that on a different time. I don't really care about Jade Cargill and Anna Jay. They're both fine wrestlers. It's just I felt like this build kind of came out of nowhere, and they just had to put the title on there. Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb is one of those feuds where it's like they have not done Thunder's championship reign well since she beat Britt Baker. Say that 5 times fast. But I think the match should be fine. But really, we're going to be hinging on how much do I want to see Paige versus CM Punk because it's the promos. And Dynamite's this Wednesday, so we get kind of excited. So we're going to do minor predictions now because I don't know if I'll have time for a short end cage because 4-day weekend, Charles is probably taking on Friday. Yay me. I'm going to be getting like tan like a lobster. Maybe I'll do on Friday, but we'll do shorthand predictions now. Paige Punk is the tough one because if you have Paige win, you do it him turning heel on Punk, and then eventually Punk will get it back from him. I can get behind that feud because of the whole thing that Punk's been doing is selling Paige that he's in his head now. Well, he's in his head now, so that's when the title becomes super important. And if you have a babyface champion doing whatever it takes to keep the title by doing evil stuff and going heel, that makes the title seem valuable, if you ask me, boys. It puts a very big onus on the importance of it. But if Punk wins, I don't know if you get a second match. I think you go straight to MJF, man. And then you'll have MJF taking that title at their next pay-per-view, which is, I don't remember. Sorry. Because they only do like 4 pay-per-views a year. It's Revolution, Full Gear, Double or Nothing, and it's going to bother me, but I'll look at it to a different degree. I don't think you should do title changes at the TV specials because I think it gets washed in the commercials. That's how I felt when they did with Kenny Omega versus John Moxley. And even though they had their chances all out, that's the other pay-per-view, even though they had their other chances to broadcast it and replay it, and they had a rematch, it lost its effect. Jurassic Express, the AEW tag titles versus Team Taz, Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. A lot of things can happen there. I find it funny that people poop on WWE for putting like hodgepodge of tag teams together and expect them to be champions. That's kind of what they did with Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. And I like both guys, former WWE guys. Well, actually, the former indie guys who got signed by WWE, they were royally screwed over by Vincent Kennedy McMahon. That's how we'll phrase it. But it would feel kind of improper if they won the championships versus Team Taz, Ricky Starks, and Powerhouse Hobbs, who have been in a stable for a very long time. Hardys and Young Bucks. Hardys win. You're going to get some dissension with the Young Bucks going from there. Jericho Appreciation Society versus the collage of 5 men that I talked to you about, Anarchy, the arena match. They haven't defined what it is. I'm guessing it's no holds barred with 10 men. It'll be like a popcorn match to a degree. It's not enough star power, even though I do like 2.0 of Parker and Menard, Daniel Garcia, Jake Hager. Yeah, I like me some Jericho. But yeah, House of Black versus Death Triangle. You have Death Triangle win, I think. But if you're doing this to open the door to a trios title, which would be a stable championship, then you give it to House of Black. MJF versus Wardlow. Wardlow wins that. I don't see the point in delaying it the way that you delayed it with MJF versus CM Punk, where MJF won by cheating and then Punk won when there was the betrayal. And then they have the pre-show of Hook and Danhausen versus Tony is a smart mark. I don't know if we're going 50. Really depends on really depends on what we're gonna do Wednesday on Dynamite. I could skip it, or I could just watch it, or if Warner Discovery creates a streaming deal and allows me to do some things, then I could watch that at any time and then be happy. So that's all I got for you this week on the cage, which was brief, like 20 minutes, I think. So we did it. We did it, kids.
Yeah.
We did it. We're going to be concise and run on tangents and play video games at the same time.
All right, guys. So that's it for today. We kind of get through everything. It's 2 hours and 4 minutes. So we talked about pretty much everything we wanted to talk about, and we didn't mention basketball. So
We don't have to. Everybody's just crowning the Boston Celtics, even though the Warriors. The 5-second thing I'll say to you about basketball is this: God damn, the Warriors are scary. You put Steve Kerr on the pantheon. He's on the Greg Popovich, Pat Riley, Phil Jackson. Because yes, he has Clay and Curry, but this is just a whole different dynamic. And Green, but it's a whole different dynamic. And I just don't see how they lose. They get a little lazy, but they came back from like down 20 and won. Yep. And it's going to be a sweep tonight, man.
Yep. All right. So that's it. See you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Peace.
Take care.